Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of June 18th, 2018. My name is Trey. This is the full spectrum. Let's get started. We start off this week with Black Clover 161, Human Bonds. This gives us another popularity poll, which is always fun. This time it's Asta in first, for the Japanese side. Yami in second. Yuno in third. Luck in fourth. Julius in fifth, which is not surprising, considering that Julius arc that we got. Fuego Leon in sixth, which is kind of surprising, since he hasn't been around for a while. Mario Leona in seventh. Gauche in eighth. Noel in ninth. And Nozzle in 10th. Gauche has been very popular with the Japanese viewers for a while, so that doesn't really surprise me. Gauche is a great character. I really like Gauche. Don't see Kirsch on there at all. My boy Kirsch is not on there. But it's okay, because on the English side, it's Yami in first, which is not a surprise. Yami has been doing some really cool stuff in the anime lately. Asta in second. Noel in third, which really did surprise me, actually. I'm not a huge fan of Noel, so I didn't expect her to be as high up. But she has been getting a lot of time in the anime lately, so maybe that's why. Yuno in fourth. Finral in fifth. Thank you, someone recognizing Finral. Finral's the second best character in this manga, right after Kirsch. Zora in sixth, which is really cool to see. Julius in seventh. Luck in eighth. Mimosa in ninth. And Charmy in 10th. Still no Kirsch. Still no Kirsch. This is for you, Kirsch. On to the chapter proper. Magna would be dead, if not for Rouge. Thank goodness for Rouge. As Rufel lets out his true power. And, man, these elves are strong. We also get to see that as he's holding Magna up, and, Vanessa is calling him family, and Luck's declaring that, this is his one true rival, and, he'll only ever fight seriously against him. We see Luck begin to cry. And then, of course, Rufel goes for the kill, breaking off Vanessa's magic. He's going to kill Magna, but Rouge uses the last of its power to pull Asta to the fight. I thought it was really cool that it was Rouge that pulled him in and not just Asta caught up, because it lends more credence to the fact that, Asta would not have arrived in time if not for Vanessa's magic, which is nice. It also felt a little weak, having Asta go, "We're Luck's friends!" Basically, right after Vanessa had called him family, that's like my little brother, and Magna had basically said that this is the only guy that I will ever fight seriously against, really. Or ever really be able to fight seriously against. It just felt a little weak to have Asta show up and go, "I'm his friend!" And I don't know, it was a little weird. At the same time, though, it was a fine chapter. I enjoyed it. After that, we had One Piece 908, The Reverie Begins. We get to see Mancheri healing Shirahoshi. And there's a fun comment here about the smallest princess and the biggest princess in the world. We get to see Meowsgard make a promise that he probably shouldn't make, that is definitely going to come back to hurt him in the future, where he promises that they can do anything they need to do to defend Shirahoshi and Trident, and that he'll cover it with his authority. Which, telling Sai and Leo that there's going to be some fights later. We also get to see Kuma, and Bartholomew Kuma is the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom. Like, we knew he used to be a revolutionary. He's the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom? And Kuma's now a slave? And he's, all messed up and, been stabbed multiple times, and he can't do anything about it because they're celestial dragons. And then we get to see Bonnie pretending to be Connie, the queen of Sorbet, and swearing revenge. And is she even pretending, or is she actually Connie? Is she related to Kuma somehow? Oh man, this chapter, it blindsided me with this, and my mind immediately went crazy with, okay, possibilities. Bonnie is actually Connie, and Bonnie is just her disguise so she can get around the world. Bonnie is related to Connie. I'm sorry, my eye itches now because I'm grabbing my face too much. Bonnie is related to Connie, and because of that, is taking the form of Connie so that she can, get in there into the Reverie. Bonnie is married to Kuma. Bonnie is Kuma's daughter. Bonnie is Kuma's mom. Immediately, the theories just went out of me. I'm trying to decide which one I'm most behind right now, but right now I feel like Bonnie is related to Connie, which means she's related to Kuma, and she's swearing her revenge against the Celestial Dragons. Although, it's technically possible that she could be swearing her revenge against Kuma, though that would be a really weird thing to do in that situation where he's a slave. With all that going on, the revolutionary leaders are also here to save Kuma, and Sabo's getting real upset that Kuma's having to go through all that. Whew! While all of this is going on, the Reverie begins, and it's kind of funny to me to see all of these different kings that are basically in Luffy's pocket now. We just get to see them all sitting around this table, and so many of them are thinking about Luffy. It's crazy. Because you know that they all came to this Reverie with something in mind, and I'm really excited to see how the chapters roll out from here. We also get to see the five elders have decided it's time for a great cleansing, and this guy, who we find out his name is Emu, is the one that was holding the pictures of the wanted posters anyway, of Luffy and Blackbeard and Shirahoshi and Vivi. And obviously Vivi and Shirahoshi don't have wanted posters, but they have pictures that he was holding. He's also the one who went to go look at the giant straw hat, and he's the one who really sits the empty throne and who controls the history of the world. So he's definitely the one who is behind the missing time, the dark history, and in my opinion, it's not confirmed, but it's close to confirmed because of what the elders say, where, who is your next selection to be wiped from history, but we don't know for sure that he was the one behind it. It could have been his ancestor, but I'm assuming it's him. And oh man, this guy, and he's clutching the picture of Vivi. Why would he want Vivi to be blotted out? What is his goal here? Is it going to wind up being that, again, the theories just start rolling out because Oda has just rocked the world with these last handful of chapters, with the surprises in them. But is it going to wind up being that he has to take a wife and he selected Vivi? Is it going to wind up being that he found out Vivi traveled with Luffy and Luffy's a threat, so Vivi's got to go because she's there? Is it going to wind up being that he just really doesn't like Alabasta? We don't know at this point, and that's the best thing about Oda, is that we can guess, but we don't know. And because the way Oda writes, we won't know for sure until it happens. So, very much excited. This was a really solid chapter. That Kuma reveal, man, oh man. Kuma. Makes you feel real bad for Kuma, because all he's ever done was, help Luffy, except, there was that one time where he almost killed Zoro, but he did it to take the pain away from Luffy so Luffy wouldn't die. So, at the same time, he's always helped Luffy, and Zoro took that like a boss. So I don't really hold that against Kuma. It's one of the best scenes in all of One Piece. But, Luffy may not have always seen Kuma as a friend, but Kuma has always been helping Luffy. So, after that, we have the Promised Neverland 91, All We've Got. We see all the seeds that Luffy's planted for a good hunt, with the different cuts to all the different children that he left alive, and those that he's killed who did not live up to the hunt. We even see that man and Lucas in these, and how they change over the course of the memories, from, Lucas looking resolute but a little worried, and that man holding one of their dead friends and looking, horrified, to both of them looking resolute, with no doubts seemingly in their minds. We also see that Luffy has reached the hunt he waited for, and he can now see a little bit of his hands again. Emma then figures out something that I wish I had noticed, because I did not notice this, and it made me feel real dumb for not noticing, because it makes perfect sense. Luffy was healing on purpose. He wasn't healing passively. It was an active thing. He had to selectively heal. which leads her to believe that as the demons get older, it takes more fight out of them, basically. It takes more energy to heal. And so Luvis obviously has been healing his eyes. Emma doesn't realize that, but Luvis thinks that she does. And he's been focusing on his eyes, which means that right now they can pick him apart if they can get it before he's done regenerating his eyes. Man, amazing full spread of this curvature of this hallway. As the three, Nigel, Emma, and Ray just desperately dive back through this hallway, firing and firing and firing, as Luvis just chases after them. After this hallway, Luvis realizes that, hey, this is not going to work, and he decides to get outside, which procs that man's Overwatch, as he was waiting for him to do that and takes his shot. It still isn't enough, but Luvis now, outside, not caught in the hallways, will be able to, really let himself loose, until Adam joins the fight. So, Adam is still just saying Norman's number, and I don't know how that is all going to roll out, but man, this is going to be a good fight. I feel like Adam's probably going to die, and they're probably not going to really get any information out of him, but I feel like Adam's probably going to really hurt Luvis in this upcoming fight, and then that man is probably going to finish him off. But, oh man, such a good chapter. That double spread, man, just that full spread of Luvis, lurching through the hallway while they fire at him. It's so good. After that, we have Dr. Stone 62, Double Chase. Homura goes to investigate, obviously, because those sound bombs definitely let her know something was going on. But Kohaku is after her, and only instinct lets Homura escape. Kohaku tries to lead her to the village so they can pincer her, but Senku's there to back her up with a homemade flash grenade. It's a good plan, but it hits Kohaku too. But it allows Senku to grab Homura, but she forces him off. So, yeah, it was a good plan, and it let everybody else catch up, but at the same time, it also dazed Kohaku. And you'd think that Senku would have been like, hey Kohaku, wear one of these, but I assume also Kohaku took off before he could stop her. Regardless, Homura was stronger than Senku, which is one of the ever-fun reminders that Senku may be the smartest man alive, but he's not the strongest man alive, and there is a difference. They decide that, they have to go after Homura, because Homura, being the spy that she is, has memorized all the villagers by sight and by name, and doesn't see Magma, Gen, or Chrome. So she decides that they must be taking something to Tsukasa, because she's also figured out, Gen would be the guide, and Chrome is the science guy, and Magma's the muscle, basically. So she chases after him, which means that everybody else has to chase after her. And I thought it was really fun to set up this double chase. Again, one simple mistake, but I like that Senku does still make mistakes. We're far enough in the story now that it'd be easy to have him just go, yeah, I got this all figured out ahead of time. Let's do the substitution jutsu style of, you didn't actually hit me at all. But instead, he's just making mistakes, because that's what people do. So it was a fun chapter. After that, we have We Never Learned 67, X threads a thorny path as the festivities continue. We get to see Asumi rocking out, and then she helps out Yuiga, which leads to more compromising positions, as they have to crawl through a duct, and her telling Yuiga if only they had met sooner. As usual, Asumi, acting like she's joking around, definitely meant that, and Yuiga could tell, and it got to him. The play is falling apart without a prince, and as Furuhashi is waiting, and Kashima and her friends are waiting for Yuiga to show up, who still doesn't know what his role even is, and the principal decides to make things interesting, because he's tired of watching this play ground to a halt, and basically tells the boys that whoever can get up here first and kiss her is the prince. And because Furuhashi is a popular girl in the school, all of the boys start swarming the stage. This leads to one of my favorite surprise moments so far in We Never Learn, which is when the Thorny Briars have to defend Furuhashi using their various martial arts. Because we knew that most of them were in martial arts clubs already. But it was pretty funny just seeing them suddenly take stances and protect Furuhashi as they had to defend their princess. The stage starts to give way, and Yuiga, who's been watching from the side, not really sure what he's supposed to do, dives in to save Furuhashi. He's still in his mascot costume. Nobody knows it's him. But Furuhashi, scared and thankful, and wanting this all to be over, kisses the mascotted head after apologizing, not knowing that it was Yuiga, which is going to lead to even more fun in the next couple chapters, as either he does tell her, or someone else tells her, which I think will probably happen, or he tries to hide it. But either way, it was a fun surprise, because I had no idea how they were going to reconnect, and I thought it was a pretty cool way to do it. After that is Food Wars 267. I'm going to butcher this. Les Cuisiniers Noir. Because I'm not at all sure how you're supposed to say that. In French, Cuisinier is all I can think of. Now Soma gets it. He's finally put it together. This guy is dangerous indeed. Man, this guy's... He's basically a sociopath when it comes to cooking. With everything else, he seemed like a really chill dude, but with cooking, he's basically a sociopath. We find out about these underworld chefs, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, you know, they work for shady governments, they work for mob bosses, for terrorist organizations, and they cook for them. And they live in a world where if you cook a bad meal, you could die. And so they've trained in the hardest ways possible to become the best chefs they can be. And it makes sense that these kind of guys would exist, especially in a world where cooking is as important as it is. And, like, I understand where he's coming from of, like, hey, the Shokugeki system makes these underworld chefs super powerful. Because the rules of the Shokugeki are simple. If you win, the loser has to do what you tell him to do. Which means that if you're a bad guy, that's really, really, really powerful. But this guy's whole way of thinking is broken. Like, well, if you're supposed to be the king in Japan, when you go somewhere and everybody treats you great, then they have to cook you the best food they possibly could. And it needs to be, you know, the highest possible grade of food, and it's got to be super expensive. It's like these low-end inns could never afford that. No wonder they're closing. And it's just like, I get it, but at the same time, dude, you're dumb. Like, you can't expect that from them. They don't have the money to do that. And it's kind of interesting. I expected Soma to be the one to call her out, but Megami is the one to call him out on his hypocrisy here and his philosophy. And I thought that was really cool. So I'm looking forward to a Shokugeki between him and Megami, who always makes the most out of the ingredients that are like homegrown and stuff like that. So this is her perfect environment for that. After that, we have My Hero Academia 187, Flaming Roar versus Nomu High End. We get to see the Todoroki siblings, and this chapter basically confirms the Dabi theory to me. The Dabi theory, in case you don't know, is the theory that Dabi is a member of the Todoroki family, and that he left, or that Endeavor did something to him, and he fled, or that Endeavor kicked him out because he wasn't good enough and only had fire powers, whereas the other two siblings have ice powers, and then Todoroki, Shoto, obviously has both, which is what Endeavor had wanted. It basically confirms it to me because of this moment where Natsuo talks about how, you know, Endeavor's not around, and he doesn't want to talk about his family to the press, and so he never comes home. And, you know, in the middle of all this, he mentions, and I'll never forget him for what he did to, you know, you, and to Shoto, and to ... And that's basically the confirmation to me that that's Dabi that he's talking about. We do get to see, though, that he brought Ray flowers. And I like that in all of the good that we're getting to see from Endeavor, we're not only getting a, like, hey, don't forget he did some really bad things, but we're also getting a he's still trying to make that right in his own weird way. And it makes Endeavor such a better character, in my opinion, because he's multifaceted. He's a bad guy. He's a bad human being. He treated his family terribly. but he's now trying to do better because he's the number one hero. And he's still a hero. So maybe he can turn it around. I hope he can. I want to see him turn it around. But it's not going to be an easy road for him, for sure, because his children really do not like him. And his wife is still not super safe around him. She doesn't feel safe around him. So, one day maybe he'll come back around. We also get to see, though, that he's a pretty quick thinker when it comes to fighting. But High End is frightfully fast and regenerates all the damage that Endeavor can do. We see Hawks having to move in to save the people in the building that is now completely wrecked from the top half, basically, with Hawk's super cool quirk, where he can control every feather of his wings. We can see that Endeavor has some pretty sick moves of his own, with this cool, spider web of fire that he set up, but knows that isn't enough to stop High End. So this was a fun chapter. I really liked it, actually. After that, we have Robot Laserbeam 61, Last Shot. We see the crowd give up on Robo, and all the elites begin to give up on him as well. Some of them deciding that, this was as far as he could go. Some seeming a little joyful at the fact that he'll be stopped here. Robo, faced with all this pressure, continues moving on, and remembers himself from the start of the series, saying that he couldn't understand why anyone would, play golf. And we also get to see a flashback to when he first used his dad's iron. Robo uses an iron now, using his tried and true half swing, the one that he's practiced so many times. Will it reach, or will it fall short? This was a really short chapter, but this was a really powerful chapter. It let us see Robo's determination. It let us see the difference in where he is now from when the series started, and it let us see not only has he come to understand why someone would play golf, but he wants to replicate that feeling that he got when he first hit the ball into the basket. And it really spoke volumes for me for the distance that Robo has come. And I was really excited to see it. So, all told, this was a really solid chapter. After that, we have One Punch Man 83. Because I'm the bald cape, I don't think we've ever gotten back-to-back One Punch Man chapters, have we? It's always at least 2 weeks apart. Either way, this is a really good chapter. We can see the board discussing Garo and the rescue operation. And again, we see these people may fight monsters, but the association's not in it for, helping people. And the heroes, most of them are not really heroes. They don't even care when Drive Knight is beaten. Drive Knight, who had never been beaten before. They don't really seem to care about the hostage that much. Child Emperor even comments that, hey, I'm going to have to miss a night of sleep now because of this, man. And it really, sells to me the difference in the people who do care in this universe and the ones who don't, who are just in it for the fame and the fortune. And Atomic Samurai is one of those people that does seem to care. And even brings his disciples along, so they'll have backup. But a My Mask doesn't want them around. And doesn't really want any of them coming with him. We then get to see prisoners on the team as well. And that Metal Knight has already been beaten. Metal Knight then tries to tell Child Emperor he needs to stay out of it. Because there is a bigger threat that Metal Knight is looking forward to. And they'll need Child Emperor's help. And what could that bigger threat be? We then get to see Fubuki come to get Saitama's help. And is surprised to see him so chill. And with Silverfang and King, Bomb wants Silverfang to quit being a hero because it's just too dangerous at his age. And Saitama gets mad that Garo never came for him, so he goes out to look for him. We get to see a really fun moment here, too, where Fubuki tries to get Saitama to sit down and come up with a battle plan. And Saitama just doesn't listen at all, because Fubuki still thinks that he is, her level. And has no idea that he's not. And it was also really fun to see Saitama get a little bit upset that, Garo fought all those other heroes, but he still hasn't come to fight me. Is it because I'm just the bald cape? And so, he goes out to look for him, which will probably put him in direct opposition to the Monster Association, which will hopefully let him be able to help rescue that poor kid who's just been stuck there this whole time that nobody seems to care about. Genos is out of the picture for now. He definitely will not be able to repair himself. you're looking at least a day, maybe 2 for him. And Bomb and Bang are both down for the count as well, due to their age. So it's really down to just Saitama, and then the rest of the heroes that are waiting that are part of this team for Child Emperor to find the location. And with all that in mind, the Norinki is tired of waiting on the heroes. They're taking too long, they're doing things their own way. He needs his son to be rescued. And so he gets his own special forces to go after his son. And they are all, like, suited up and have their weapons and stuff, and look pretty cool for the most part, to be honest. But, we'll see how well that goes. They're probably all going to get completely annihilated pretty soon. And still no sign of Suiryu. I thought for sure we'd have Suiryu by this point. I can never say his name right. But Suiryu is a really cool character, in my opinion. I thought for sure he'd have already... I mean, I guess he's still recovering. It hasn't been that long at all. But, he also wanted to be Saitama's apprentice. And I was thinking about it in the last chapter, with the stuff with Genos. And I think it'd be really cool to see him come back and begin to get strong as well. It would also be really cool, since he's just a human and not a cyborg like Genos, if as he begins to train with Saitama, he also loses his hair that he was so proud of. I think that'd be a really fun, dumb thing. Regardless, we'll move into the lightning round. Black Clover 161, Human Bonds. This was a fine chapter. I liked Rouge. I liked the declarations of everybody, except for Asta, again, which seemed a little weak. And I liked that Luck was crying, because that's a very unluck-like thing to do. But Magna was about to die, and Magna's, his one true rival, so, One Piece 908, the Reverie begins. 2 thumbs up. Couldn't be anything else. Kuma, King of Sorbet, Bonnie, Connie, Emu, everything going on there. The Reverie had to be 2 thumbs up. Absolutely. After that, The Promised Neverland 91, all we've got, another thumbs up. That full spread was great, and we got some really good information this chapter, but all it really did was hype me up for next chapter, so 1 thumb up was really solid. Did its job, I suppose. Dr. Stone 62, Double Chase. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up as well. I thought it was a fun chapter, even if Senku, kind of left Kohaku on the ground there. But, all told, it was cool. And getting to see Senku, pull out that flash grenade, that was pretty nice. We Never Learned 67. X threads a thorny path as the festivities continue. Going to give this one a thumbs up too. Thought it was really fun. Looking forward to where it goes. After that, Food Wars 267. Les Cuisiniers Noir. I'm dead even on this one for the most part. Again, I talked about how I wasn't super fond of the fact that they hadn't figured it out yet, that somebody was doing shokugekis. But, we figured it out now, so I guess we'll just move on. My Hero Academia 187, Flaming Roar versus Nomu High End. I'm going to give this one a thumbs up as well. Figuring out the Dabi theory is basically confirmed by this chapter. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments below if you think I am. But that was pretty cool. And then getting to see, Endeavor put up a fight. And Hawk's really cool quirk was nice. Robot Laserbeam 61, Last Shot. I'm actually going to give this one 2 thumbs up. I thought that it was really, really cool to go back to the Robo of the beginning of the series and get to see how he feels about everything. And then compare that to the Robo now. Getting to see him realizing that, yes, he's upset that if he loses this, he won't get to fight Yozan. But that's not the main reason why he doesn't want to lose. It's because he loves golf now. He doesn't want to be beaten at his own sport. That was just really, really solid for me. I thought that was really nice. And the flashback was fun. One Punch Man 83, because I'm the bald cape. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a thumbs up as well. Thought this was a really solid chapter. Again, putting everything in perspective for us with how the heroes feel. And that even Saitama is not going out there to do it as, it's the right thing to do. He's going out there because he's mad that Goro, didn't fight him. So, I thought it was really nice that, we got a reminder of where these heroes actually stand. But, all told, this was a great weekend jump. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown. I have been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. And remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that Jump has to offer.